Coming to you live, not from Kansas anymore. It's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they? Speaking of which, with me this week, you dare to come to me for a heart, you clinking, clanking, clattering collection of collisionist junk. It's Chris.
Well played, by because that was quite a mouthful.
I actually never ever heard of the word collisionist before watching the film
He's
today.
been practicing that bad boy.
I hadn't. That was the first time I ever tried to say the word collisionist. And secondly, you have the effrontery to ask for a brain, you billowing bale of bovine fodder. It's Andy.
I've got nothing. I've got no rebuttal for that.
I didn't insult the lion, so I couldn't do the lion one. The lions got scared and fell over. We are the 10 Point Podcast back after our 2-week holiday, our summer holiday, and it's obviously the weather's now far better than it was.
We're melting. We're
We
melting.
are melting.
My cold's got a bit worse and I feel a bit under the weather.
You're looking a bit ill.
A bit green, a bit Vindigills.
Vindigills, yes, exactly, yeah. You can find us at 10pointpodcast.com and on YouTube. Look for 10 Point Podcast. We've got video versions over there. Spotify has audio podcast and video podcast versions. We like Spotify. They help us over there. Twitter, there's a nice picture over on Twitter that advertises this week's podcast when we're off, which I put together very quickly. And Facebook as well. Look for us over there. Just Google 10 Point Podcast. You will find us and you'll find ways to listen to and watch the podcast.
Stop moving, Chris, you disappear.
We've got a lot to get through this week. So we'll start off very quickly, well, not very quickly, as long as you like, with the highlights of the week. Now, you guys have spent some of the week together, so you may even have the same films. So, Andy, we'll start with you.
Chris, what did we watch? I forgot.
Well,
I remember we did.
Every night. So the first pick was for me, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yes.
Oh, right, is that out? I forgot that actually came out.
So basically what we did was have a mini podcast. We decided like me, Chris and Chantel would pick a movie each. So yeah, Chris started with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
And remember that scene from Bone Tomahawk where the guy gets like split in half? Now imagine a lady getting her head squished by a car.
Right.
I'll tell you what, it's a low budget British film and it has no right being as good as it is.
Good.
But the story is the weakest part of it. Like a kind of hack and slash murderer film. It's a great film. They put in the Winnie the Pooh bit in it. They've just quite clearly done that for licensing reasons, and it pretty much it doesn't make sense. I got confused by the timeline of it massively so, and yeah, it was gory violence was pretty that bit was good. Like and the reason for the killings was good, but it needed a bit more something.
So for me, it needed one thing. It just needed Winnie the Pooh just to say something. He doesn't say anything.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm imagining it's kind of like one of the kind of, I don't know, mid-Saw movies where the story's fine, it's all right, maybe bad, but you're there for the killings and what they actually do machine-wise.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like that.
Right. It's kind of like that, but also it's not that gory. Like there's a couple like, oh my fucking god, that was amazing. Like on your budget you've done. And then there's just a random couple of bits of some people that turn up and like, where is this set? I don't understand this film anymore, and it just gets confusing near the end.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can see like near the end, it's like, we've still got some budget. Let's do some shit right now. And it's just like, they use all the end. Yeah. But it's not horrendous. It's not, I wouldn't rush out and see it, but if it's on, it's definitely worth a watch once, I would say.
Right, so that was Chris's pick. Andy, what was your pick?
I picked The Boogeyman.
Right, is that a new, old?
Yeah, it's a new Stephen King film.
All right. Okay.
Part of the rumors are that the Boogeyman is basically it's the same kind of creature as it. And I put it on because they were all shitting themselves. It was dark. And I'll tell you what, it's probably one of the best jump scares I've had in recent history. Both me and Chris and Chantel all shit ourselves. I mean, in the same problem with the Winnie the Pooh. It's pretty good. What it does is good. It's just lacking a lot of story.
Right, yeah.
So like the jump scares where it's meant to be is good, the creature's good. It's like, well, give me something else. I need a bit more explanation.
It's functional but not interesting, is that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
And then what did Chantel? She picked,
what's the third one?
The Bubble.
The Bubble. She picked The Bubble. The Netflix is The Bubble, starring Pedro Pascal, Karen Gillan, a bunch of random the Netflix film.
Yeah.
I love that film. It's amazing.
First time I'd seen it, and it was actually probably second best film we watched because I picked an absolute banger in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, right, that as well. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
we did a double
A
rounder.
double, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did I pick as
So-
second one, or did I even get second? No, I don't think I did. I think Chris just got
Well,
an
you
extra one.
watched some TV show and I fell asleep.
Aye.
Shit, Chantel, because I moved.
Yeah, that
well,
was, we ended up watching like scary ghost shows,
Forget
and
you were
then Chris
there.
would just fall asleep and then just make a big snore noise, and everyone went, fucking hell.
Forgot you were here.
Watching ghost stories, and Chris's narcolepsy kicked in. So yeah, we watched some random movies, but my highlight was The Bubble. The Bubble's are highly recommended Netflix
The
film.
Bubble. I might
Tom
watch
hadn't
that. I
seen the
forgot.
bubble.
It's some
I
of
kinda
Pedro
forgot about it.
Pascal's perfect working. Pedro
Right,
Pascal on
okay.
drugs is genius.
Okay.
And Karen Gillan and a bunch of other random cameos. Oh, David Duchovny, it's a banger.
Okay. Interesting mixture. I don't really have anything that I watched TV movie wise particularly, but I was off for the week because I was in London at Wembley Stadium at the largest wrestling event in history is what I was at. It sold more tickets than any other wrestling event that sells tickets. I was, what was I? 81,034 and 35 out of the attendance that was there. Me and Jade were there. And we got the cheapest seats you could buy. Like, absolutely couldn't buy. They were selling tickets on the underground, like on the posters. Tickets from £30. Mine were cheaper than that. So it's like I had 25, £26 tickets. The top tier of Wembley, but we're the 8th row on the top tier. Pretty good view. Like, if you're not in the first 6 or 10 rows, you're watching on the big screen anyway. Yeah, you're watching on the big screen. And they had big screens on either side of the ring and the Wembley's big screens at either end. So we're just watching there. Probably like a tiny bit too far away to really totally pick up on everything that's going on. But for what I paid, I was very happy. £10 for 4 bottles of water when we got there. Wasn't great. But I was like, I don't want to drink booze. I'll be at the toilet the whole time. 4 bottles of water between the two of us. That'll last us. And it did last us. The whole thing, we got in the door 4:30. And it finished at 10. That's how long I was at Wembley Stadium at this wrestling event.
Did Grado cheer you up?
Great! I was so excited. Like, yeah, literally, the first thing that happened once we sat down in our seat was Jeff Jarrett came out insulting British people, and I was like, "Oh, what British wrestler have they got that could come out and beat him up?" And then the Big Show, the former Big Show, came out. And I was like, "Strange that he's defending us." And all of a sudden, the big screen just lights up, and it's because I was behind the stage, so I couldn't see people like big screen wise when they were coming out. Just when the one above this the ring showed something. So it was just, it's the Big Show's entrance video was playing. I can't see that he's down there. I didn't know if someone else was with him. And all of a sudden, it just lights up Grado, but it didn't play his music. It was still the Big Show's music. And I was like, oh my God, Grado's here. So that did cheer me up. But yeah, really good. Like, epically long, but it did not feel like it was 5 hours long.
And you got to see CM Punk's last match.
I saw CM Punk's last wrestling match possibly ever. We had no idea anything like that was going on. That didn't come out during the show. CM Punk had a really good fight. When CM Punk came out, we managed to, I'd forgotten that I'd got an aisle seat. So Jade was on the aisle with nobody next to her. So no horrible stinking wrestling fan next to her. And there was someone next to me, but then basically remind me at the end, Andy, I've got something I need to ask you about. You'll forget that I've reminded you of that, but that's something I just remembered. There was someone next to me, but then by the time the first match started, they weren't sitting there anymore. They'd moved down a bit, so I ended up there was nobody even sitting next to us. But he came back with some cheesy nachos very early on. And I was like, we tried to eat as much food as we can before we went there, but the smell that's making me starving. And then when Punk came out, I just realised I'm hungry. Nobody's going to be at the concessions right now. I went out and literally there was nobody there. I walked straight up to the nacho place, bought £2, 2 sets of £8.50 nachos, which I'm like, oh my God, these better be good. Went back. They were really good, in fairness. Moved at £8.50. Went back, sat down, and that was us. So spent quite a lot of money on food when I was there. But yeah, 5 hours
more than your fucking tickets.
Yeah, literally spent more on food than I did on tickets. We'll try and go again next year. Might try and get a better seat, depending on pricing. I can't say any highlight. I watched the show; it was really good as well. I did not know how much I cared about Sting's entrance music until he came out to "Seek and Destroy" by Metallica, and I absolutely lost my mind at that point. I didn't know I cared that much. But yeah, fantastic time. The best thing I had all weekend was my entire Sunday, which was when the event was, went perfectly to plan. Like, I got the right train in London. Every connection was made. Every time I went to somewhere, it was perfect. Went to get some lunch. Went to Shake Shack for the first time ever.
I
highly recommend Shake Shack. Really expensive, but really tasty. Shakes and burgers. Went there. Went to the hotel 5 minutes before check-in happened. Checked in straight away. Forgot that I booked my hotel so late that at the desk they were like, "All right, we're just booking you in. You can have a room on the ground, 4th or 6th floor." And I was like, "Let's go to the 4th floor." She's like, "And you've booked an accessible room, is that right?" And I was like, Yes, I have. Accidentally on purpose. He's like, we're fully booked tonight, so you must have been late in getting. I was like, yeah, that's a blessing. Honestly, get yourself an accessible room. The bathroom was massive. Like, it was gigantic. Gigantic.
That's how you get wheelchairs in.
If they wanted it, they'd have booked it before I got it. I got really late. So I forgot about that. Got in the accessible room and then got off to Wembley, perfect time, and made all the trains and all that sort of stuff. Getting out of Wembley was tough because we ended up getting on a train and go all the way back where we're supposed to. We had to get off at one stop and then wait for the next train and get onto it, which is also full of people coming from Wembley. But yes, highly recommended. I would recommend trying to go to next year's All In at Wembley because they're having it on basically the same day next year again. But yeah, that's what I did. I didn't watch any movies. I went to Wembley Stadium instead. And that'll do it. We better crack on with the reason for the podcast. We've been off for a couple of weeks. We always talk for ages. So, point number one
Chris looks like he's
on
hulking out.
the podcast is what's the point? The point this week, you may have guessed by our backgrounds, is the 1939 musical fantasy adventure family film, The Wizard of Oz. Based on the book. I don't think I ever knew this was based on a book before the film. The book by L. Frank Baum, who also wrote other Oz-based books, including Return to Oz, I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast, but the really creepy, freaky sequel that came out 50 years later.
Nightmare Fuel. I fucking
Nightmare Fuel.
Hate it.
It'll come on the podcast if we keep going. If we get to 500 films, I'm sure we'll get to it. The Wizard of Oz movie screenplay and script officially written by Noel Langley, Florence Ryerson, and Edgar Allan Wolfe. I won't go into their backgrounds because they didn't really write anything as famous as this. But uncredited writers, there are 15 other people, including cast members, that are uncredited writers of the Wizard of Oz here. Like, basically, the Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow all have, uncredited bits, because they probably come up with their own dialogue. But yeah, there's another 12 people on top of the 3 people officially who wrote it. So I don't know how that happened. Even more surprisingly, directed by, officially, Victor Fleming, who also wrote Gone with the Wind. So a bit of kind of award-winning direction there. There were 5 uncredited directors as well, which is mad. There was one director who was sacked, who had filmed a wee bit at the beginning, and then when Victor Fleming came in, he changed a whole bunch. Like, he wanted Dorothy to look like Judy Garland, not have blonde hair. Wanted the Tin Man and the Scarecrow played the opposite parts, and there was other bits and pieces. The Yellow Brick Road didn't look yellow; it was like a greenish color. All this sort of stuff changed. But apparently, 4 other people directed it as well. Somehow, I don't know how that worked. Stars of the film, starring as Dorothy Gale. Before this watch through, I could not have told you Dorothy had a surname, never mind what it was from The Wizard of Oz. She's Dorothy Gale.
I think she's related to Gale Weathers.
I doubt it, that's her first name.
No, I was going for the Bly logic there.
Yeah, okay. Played by Judy Garland. She plays Dorothy. Famous for The Wizard of Oz, surprisingly. Meet Me in St. Louis, A Star is Born, the original version, not the Gaga version, and Judgment at Nuremberg. I'll be honest, I don't know much about Judy Garland except The Wizard of Oz. That's really all I know her from. Co-starring, second in the credits, as Professor Marvel, the Gatekeeper, the Carriage Driver, the Guard, and The Wizard of Oz, we have Frank Morgan, famous for The Affairs of Selene, Trouble for Two, The Wizard of Oz, The Shop Around the Corner, and I guess it's like Tortilla Flat. I don't think it's Tortilla, but it's something like Torilla Flat, maybe, or Torilla Flat. Again, I wasn't really sure who this guy is or was before or after. I also didn't realize he played 5 parts in the film until he kept popping back up again. That's just the same guy.
That's popping up later on, by the way.
Yes, okay. Next, as Hunk, which apparently was his real life name. I thought it was Hank, but apparently it was Hunk. And the Scarecrow, Ray Bolger, famous for The Wizard of Oz, Where's Charlie, April in Paris, and Babes in Toyland. I've at least heard of Babes in Toyland. They came a lot later. He must have been very old when he was in that. As Zeke and the Cowardly Lion, Bert Lahr, was famous for The Wizard of Oz, Sing Your Worries Away, Ship Ahoy, and Meet the People. And then finally, we don't normally go as far as 5, but it seemed like it was harsh to leave the Tin Man off. So Tin Man Hickory, played by Jack Haley, famous for The Wizard of Oz, One Body Too Many, Sing Your Way Home, and Vacation in Reno. All these films basically all exist before about 1960. So we are children of the 90s. We don't know who these people are or what these films are. They're the people from Wizard of Oz. They're all on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for being in this film. So basically, for being in this film. The Wizard of Oz, made on a budget of $2.7 million. I could not find out whether that was the actual money spent at the time or if that was adjusted for inflation at a certain time, but it might well have been back then. It was $2.7 million they put into this.
Cocaine budget.
Opening weekend in the US, $5.3 million. Final US gross, $24.5 million. Final worldwide, $25.5 million. So basically 10 times its budget it made at the box office. However, it has been like impossibly successful in the 100 years since for various reasons. So a lot of money gone the Wizard of Oz kind of way. Released 25th of August 1939 in the US and in the 26th of January 1940 in the UK. That would be in the Second World War in the UK that came out. So
I was trying to remember when the actual war started because I was like, did this come out during the war or just before it?
Well, it's definitely 39 to 45. If only there's someone I knew that I could ask about when the Second World War happened, they might have had a lot of information that I could have used.
I'm sure we're going to get a lot of information after this now.
Yeah, I should have asked him before rather than him telling me afterwards. But yes, I feel like 26th of January 1940, that'd be in the middle of the Second World War. Now, surely it's not during like the Blitz and all that. Like the cinemas would be shut and you can't go see it. But
that's what I would do if war's kicking off. I'm going to the cinema.
Go to the cinema.
Who's going to bomb a cinema?
Exactly. Who would be so cruel as to bomb a cinema when a family film's on? Good point. That all meant that it qualified for the 1940 awards season, and it was represented at the 1940 Oscars. 5 nominations for The Wizard of Oz. Best Art Direction, it lost to Gone with the Wind. Best Special Effects, it lost to The Rains Came. Now, I don't care what The Rains Came is or what it's about. This has to have been the best special effects in 1939. I disagree. Best Original Song, Over the Rainbow by Judy Garland. It was the winner of that Oscar. Best Original Score for the whole thing. It was also the winner. So it won both of the big music awards. Nominated for Best Picture at the 1940 Oscars. It lost to Gone with the Wind. A bit unfair that 2 absolute classic movies came out in the same year. And I can't say I swear by Gone with the Wind or really have even seen it, but I know it's a famous old film. It's just a bit unlucky that it came out the same year as The Wizard of Oz. The Razzies didn't exist yet, as did the MTV Movie Awards. They did not exist, but The Wizard of Oz has won a Saturn Award. It won.
I didn't even know that existed back then either.
It won at the 2006 Saturn Awards. It won Best Classic Film DVD Release.
Yes.
I thought I'd put it in. We don't normally do the DVD ones, but since it's Saturn Awards and The Wizard of Oz hasn't really got much else. Other awards, it was nominated for the Palme d'Or, i.e. like Best Picture at the Cannes Film Festival that year, but it did not win. So as much as you can ask in the 1940s, a lot of awards there. Basically, the Oscars is all that mattered. Synopsis for The Wizard of Oz. Written by Rick Polito of the Marin Independent Journal. Rick says, transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets and then teams up with 3 strangers to kill again. That is the synopsis for The Wizard of Oz.
That's how he actually put.
That's right. Yeah. This guy's a bit of a meme, a bit of a jokester where he writes these one-line film synopsises like that. So I think we all know what happens in The Wizard of Oz. And also, I didn't really like the other ones that were on IMDb, so I found that somewhere and I thought it was quite funny.
Oh, we can pick it. That's absolutely banging.
Yeah, I think that might be his best work, quite possibly. Who picked it? It was me. I picked it. It doesn't fit a theme because I don't really have one. And basically, forever, Andy and I, in passing, often mention how great The Wizard of Oz is and how did they make a film so good in 1939. And I thought, why not? Let's stick The Wizard of Oz in, have a look at it. Had we seen it before? I definitely have. I saw it first over 30 years ago, like I said last time on the podcast, 30 plus years ago. It's a film from my childhood when I was at my granny's house. She had the VHS of this. The last time I watched this film, though, I believe was 2008 when I was in Vancouver and the hostel there, one of the nights in the kind of TV common room, played the film along with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, because there's this alleged matchup with allegedly Pink Floyd's album matches up with Wizard of Oz perfectly if you start it playing on the 3rd roar of the lion at the beginning. And I can confirm it does not match up in any way whatsoever. I mean, you could say, oh, well, they say this line of one song when this is happening on screen. And, when the alarm clocks go off in one of the songs, we first see Mrs. Gulch on her bike with her bell on it. But so much of it doesn't. Like, when 99% of it doesn't match up, it doesn't work that four things or whatever match up. Like, there's no point. I'm not even sure it's the same length now I think about it. Anyway, it doesn't work. That was the last time I watched it. You guys, had you seen it before, and how recently had you seen it?
Well, it's been a long time. I only remember seeing it from. I've never seen it actually really start bit behind you. I've always seen it from when the house is spinning.
Yeah.
And lands. That's the last.
He got the cut version.
There is apparently that it's a 20-minute version that was cut down for. Is it like in some era they wanted films to be 40 minutes long so they could put them into schools so they could show them in school, and they chopped this down to 20 minutes. And I could see how you could kind of do it because there's not a lot of depth to it, but you're missing a lot. What about you, Andy?
I've watched it about 1,000,001 times. I think the last time was when James Franco prequel came out.
Yeah, Oz the Great and Powerful, I think it's called, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't really remember that. I saw that in the cinema. Same as Chris, when I was a kid, fast forward through the black and white stuff, get to the colour bit. I do not care anything that happens before the tornado came. That's how I always watched it when I was like 6 years old or whatever. Which channel would you find The Wizard of Oz on?
Well, I would say BBC.
I would say
Yeah, I
BBC.
think so. Probably just the most simple. And which version? Well, basically since the 70s, it's the same one. And the only reason we know the 70s is a different one is got the title card bit at the beginning. I don't know if you guys got that in your version. I had it on the Sky Cinema version, which is like, to all of the fans who've watched us over the last nearly 40 years, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was going to be like in a world where, and I'll look at type of stuff, but it was like thanking people for watching. Since that's been put in, it's basically the same thing. But I'll get into some bits.
This is the first time I've ever seen the original MGM Lion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's coming up for me in some point of the podcast as well. But yeah, I'm the same. But I think there's some cuts and edits, but I think there's actually been really bad edits forever in the film. Like, it's always looked like it'd be badly edited. But we'll come on to that, I'm sure. High points is point number 2 on the podcast. Whoever picked it normally starts off, and I'll start off unless you've got something that's prior to the farmyard. Basically, okay, on you go.
Like, because I've never seen like the black and white, but I didn't realize that the lion and the scarecrow and the Tin Man were the farm hands, and that blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, that's what
I was going to say. Like, recently I was the same. It's like I always forget like this black and white bit. I don't know if it was the same with you and fast forwarded it. It's always a little treat to go back and go, oh yeah, oh that's him. I got it all. But yeah, it's always a little treat. I always get surprised by it.
Like when he helps Dorothy out with the pen, he's like, oh, I'm scared. Oh, and then the scarecrow goes, oh, you need brains or something like that. But I don't get the heart thing with the Tin Man.
I think they all have in Oz. They're all looking for basically what they display in the real world. Yeah. So he has a lot of heart. Like, he wants to have a statue built of him. I'm going to be something one day. I want a statue built of me, is what the Tin Man does. I was only vaguely aware of the 3 farm hands. Because I would just fast forward, but I really like the scene. I like. It's almost like it's a wee sort of. I kind of wish I didn't know, because I'd be like, oh, here's these 3 guys, and it's like you get to the end, it's like, oh my god, because they do look very different. Because obviously they are sepia toned and in color, and then in mad costumes that you can't really tell what they are. It's not blatantly obvious that they're the same person. But I really like. There's a good
lion. Like, you can tell with the lion that he's the same person because
he is the same, but. Face looks the same, yeah, exactly. Because also his costume in Oz is the worst, I think, of the 3 of them. And it's a good one take scene of her on the wall between the pigsties. I hadn't realized till I was thinking about it. Like, the camera zooms in on it's the lion, isn't looking after it, and she hops up on the wall, and then she falls in, and then they get her out, and it's just the camera's on them. It's just one take the entire time, and he's even talking about building a statue and all that sort of stuff himself. It's all just one take, and I'm like, that's quite good. Quite like that. They did that back in the 30s, that sort of stuff. Do you have any other high points prior to the tornado arriving?
I love the woman on the bike, the witch, her proper bell end.
Miss Gulch.
Just the music, just playing, and it's just like,
yeah.
But that song's just kind of, I don't know. I think, like, same with you, I used to watch it with my grands, and I used to like, oh god, is this film? Like, and it was just that music was that point. But then when I was watching it like this time and recently, I was just like, this is like, Toto is amazing. Like, some dog acting.
Yeah.
Like, he jumps in the
basket.
That's why
the theme is Toto.
Yeah.
Toto is, yeah.
He is an absolute amazing little actor. And just that scene where she's kidnapped him on the bike and then he just jumps out and he runs by. It's like, what a dog. What a good boy.
Okay. It says in the credits Toto was played by Toto.
Yeah.
But it's not. All the internet says it was Terry was the name of the dog. So I don't know why they got it wrong. Maybe they weren't paying attention when they're typing it
Well,
in.
fun fact, he got paid more than the Munchkins.
I did see that.
Ah,
I
that's
saw
one of
that
my
as
fun
well.
facts as well.
I know you got
Yeah.
loads. I'll just start dropping them in, Chris, to take them away from you.
I'll keep the ones I'm storing up for later as well. Yes, my other one is Professor Marvel. Now, this I do not remember. I remember the three farmhands kind of being involved, and Mrs. Gulch, she's trying to get the dog, and then the Wicked Witch trying to get the dog. Oh, it's the same person. I have no recollection of this weird magician guy in his van out in the middle of nowhere. And in the context of the scene in the film, he's a good guy. I was expecting him to be this absolute scam artist. Like, he's obviously selling a fortune teller and all this sort of stuff, but he basically convinces Dorothy, like, lies to her to go back home. Like, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. Go back home and all that. It's like, he's a good guy, this old Professor Marvel. I quite liked it. And I liked the scene, which again, I don't think I've never seen this before. Like, at least bits and bobs, other bits I fast forwarded and seen, I guess, referenced places. But yeah, no recollection. So I liked that he was a good guy. That was the first time that what's his name again? Our main man, Frank Morgan, showed up. I've just closed down my cast list, I think, over
I know, it's panicking.
My next one's got to be the tornado.
Yes, this is the first time my mind was blown.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CGI.
Like,
So
not even CGI.
Yes,
what the
I've
fuck is
got
that, just
how
like
the
a
hell
massive green
did they
cinema
manage?
screen?
How did they manage to do a twister in the background like that in the 1930s? How on earth did they do it? 'Cause I was looking at it, like, I could see, they might have filmed a tornado from a distance, but then, like, how did they make it? How? I don't know how they do it. So, have you got the answer, Chris? Because I do have the answer, or at least I have.
No, I
some.
don't.
Explore minds.
It is two different shots. Obviously, so Dorothy in the foreground, and then I don't know how they did it, but they put another thing behind it, like they did without green screens. But the tornado was a 35-foot long muslin stocking, whatever that means. I'm assuming it's some sort of tights, I would say. So stocking, spun around among miniatures of a Kansas farm and fields with a dust. They put like fake dust, the atmosphere around it. So there is a shot you can get of like the actual farm with it spinning around near it. So yeah, that's just a stocking, but it looks absolutely perfect for a twister. But yeah, that was my first mind blow, and I was like, that looks better than anything that came in the next 70 years. How the hell did they do it?
It's afterwards as well when she's in the room.
Yeah.
And the room's like the bed's spinning and everything's shaking about. I was like, this is better than
practical effects, bitch. That's how you do it.
And Judy Garland definitely took a whack on the back with that window frame as well. That was no stunt double. It was most
just that whole window scene, just the cow flying and stuff. It's like, what? This is mind blowing. Like I said, better than Blade special effects, better than any kind of special effects. It's just insane.
I feel like poor old Blade is our benchmark for bad CGI, and that film should be remembered for more than just the bad CGI.
Just that one bit. Like, the rest of it's good. Just that one blood drop. That blood drop.
Are we done in Kansas yet?
I think so. My next high point is ultimate. Like, imagine being mind blown, because I imagine most people have probably only ever seen black and white films around about this time. You know, with like the latest, like, this big film's coming out. It's like, should you watch that or Gone with the Wind? Oh no, we'll watch Wizard of Oz. It's like, it's black and white. It's what I'm used to. And then suddenly it's just like, the fuck is this? This is color on the screen. Mind blowing.
It's probably I've got the best transition in cinema in the 20th century, I think. Which again, I found out earlier this year how they did it. I don't know if you guys are aware how because like they didn't have the technology to do half black and white or half sepia, half color back then. So are you guys aware of how they did it?
Nope. Tell us.
So you have the Wizard of Oz set, fully colored, fully painted, ready to go, and then you have the house as part of the set too, and they painted the inside of the house sepia colors. So they've actually hand painted brown and grey and white and whatever it was that. And then they had Judy Garland's standing in a sepia-toned outfit with a black wig, her skin painted to be a different color as well. She walks up, opens the door, you see the fully colorful, and then Judy Garland in full costume walks through the door from like just out of shot. So this whole time I thought like, it was just like, they've done movie magic for it, but like with the film. But no, it's literally practically done. Is that they had
I've been saying this for years on this podcast. Practical effects don't age.
Exactly, and they always look good. So yeah, I saw something try to claim that they wanted to do it the other way, that involved like hand painting the cells of the film and all that, and they've worked out that's going to be too time consuming.
Yeah.
Let's just paint the actual house itself.
That's genius.
So, yeah.
I just wish I was at the cinema at that time,
transition,
just like just being like all black and white, just watching this. Like, oh, it's black and white film. Because that's the other thing. Internet would have been raining this shit.
yeah.
And like all posters would have been in color anyway. So you're just like, oh, it's another black and white film. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, fucking colors. And
The
like,
problem with
bright
this-
colors as well.
The problem with your theory was that the any trailers actually just showed the Oz side of it. Like the first time any of the
Yeah.
black and white bits made it into a trailer was decades later. So
But then I would imagine people wouldn't even see it. It would just be posters. I reckon people weren't seeing trailers back then either. Most people wouldn't have had TVs back then.
and the posters are always in color. You're right. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that I did read that no trailers had any of the Kansas footage. And this is the first
Right.
20 minutes of the film. None of it appeared advertised in trailers until it might be something daft like the 80s or something like that. It was the first time it appeared in some sort of trailer for a DVD. Right, I'll let you guys. I really wanted to wax lyrical about the Kansas part too much because it's a bit I've never seen. Like it was like, oh yeah, I don't know this. So who's next for the high
Can I
point?
just put a fact in there? DVDs didn't
Yes.
come out in the 80s, Bruce.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, good point. Yeah. Chris,
well,
the next high
I
point
was
for
say,
me.
like, we've talked a little bit, but arriving in Oz, like just as soon as it opened, you see all the physical like sets, like
Oh, yeah.
absolutely massive things.
They have
I
a
like-
huge long panning shot that lasts
Yeah,
forever, establishing Munchkin Land as well.
And you can see like quite clearly where the wall like, comes in, but
Yeah.
it still looks fucking
Ah.
good. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's just like fuck me. Somebody like these like are like almost like real size houses and big sets. And it's like somebody's went and fucking painted half a skyscraper there
Yeah,
just to
up
fill
there,
that fucking bit up. It's like fuck me. I'm impressed,
And
even
you
if it
could-
looks.
Yeah, you could tell that they knew what they had in their hands here, which is this is going to blow people's minds.
Yeah.
Let's have as massive a long kind of panning shot. Look at this. So that everybody gets a chance to notice all of the little bits we've done, all the things. Oh, there's a bit down there. Oh, look at that bit over there. Oh my god, I've never seen this on screen before. So yeah,
But
you're right.
This is my next high point. It's really hard to kind of do this politically correct. But Munchkins, how did they find so many? Like, I know some of them were kids and all that, and some of them look like they were definitely on crack and stuff like that. But like, some of them are wee hard bastards. But did they just go around trying to like child catcher and go, right, we've got a film, get in the van, guys, we're going to pay you? Because
That'll be fun fact for you here. There's a few of them that were escaping Nazi Poland.
Yeah,
that came
right.
across.
They're from the Singer Midget Group or something like that, which is not called because they are singers, but that was the name of the person who owned the troupe, was
Right.
Mr. Singer's Midget, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So that's where they got it from. And then,
I've
like
seen
Chris
that in the
says,
bottom
they
of
were
the titles
European.
as well. It's like, that's, you
Yeah.
can't say that nowadays.
Yeah, and like Chris says, they were Europeans. So I think was it one of them has a line, and
Yeah.
every other voice is dubbed. I think.
But
Or
Oh,
That-
yeah,
that-
the V3 guys that I had.
yeah, the wee hard bastards. Because they look like they're on roids and stuff like that. And one of them definitely looks
oh,
like
they,
Satan.
yeah, they're
I
made
can't
to
choose a
look
background
weirder.
as quick as Bruce does, but I'll find it for you. Where are they? There they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
these guys.
look at
They're-
that.
they're
They're
clearly
ugly looking
children.
bastards. Like,
when you put if Satan was in the film, that guy in the blue, Bruce, look at he's even got devil horns.
yeah,
Like, that is a wee hard man there. I would not mess with him.
it wouldn't. Yeah, you'd knock your block
But
off.
no,
I
that
think.
entire scene is like it's fucked up, it's weird, it's creepy, it's fun, it's everything in a scene. And you're just like, what the fuck is this film? Like, if you watch this for the first time, you're just like, this is nightmare fuel, but the kids can watch it. But you look a bit closer, it's nightmare fuel.
I'm coming back onto
Point
the Munchkins
here.
later.
Eh,
all right, okay. I was going to say it goes on for a little bit too long. This
Right.
bit.
Well, I'll be touching on the Munchkins as a turn of phrase, not actually,
don't need to touch the munchkins.
in the low points. So if you want to have any doubt, but yes, this scene, however, for me, flips when the Wicked Witch shows up in Munchkin.
Absolutely amazing, this
Munchkin
set
Land.
piece.
Yeah, incredible. This is when, like, for me, this is when is it Margaret? What's her name? She just takes over the film as the Wicked Witch.
What's
I
it,
forgot her
Wilson?
name.
It's not Wilson.
Margaret
Hamilton.
Margaret Hamilton. She takes over the film basically, and any scene she was. Bear in mind, this is a real flip for me, and I'll mention the flip later.
Mhm.
Terrified of the Wicked Witch I was when I was 5, 6, whatever years old. Like I used to fast forward through Kansas, but when the Wicked Witch is on screen, I don't need to see this either.
Yeah.
Okay, she's gone. We'll watch some more of it. But now
Another
here
fun
I am.
fact: a lot of her scenes got cut because she was too scary for kids.
Yeah, I could tell why, because when I was
Yeah.
a child, terrified. But now that I'm no longer a child, I absolutely enjoy her energy. Like
Yeah.
it is incredible. And then this scene, she just comes in and everyone's terrified of her, and she just soaks all the energy and she just like uses it. Like I have this power. Her entrance where the red smoke comes in as well is unbelievable and all that, which I don't know if you can tell is practically done. That she
the fun fact for you, she actually burnt herself when she disappeared.
What is in the film is take one, which
Yes.
is why you can see the red smoke before she goes into it and the trapdoor. Because, like Andy says, take two didn't go so well, did it, Andy?
No. So yeah, she absolutely nuked herself.
Copper in her paint meant
Yeah.
that she burned her face and hands or something, wasn't it? So,
Totally worth it. Like, absolutely amazing.
yeah.
I think,
If
right,
she-
I think, like, I'm gonna put- it's a high point because, well, it should be a low point, but it's a high point for me. I think this film ruined theatre for me because I remember going to school, going to see Panto and stuff like that, and I was always expecting the Wizard of Oz sets.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
high quality sets. This is what theatre is, but it's not. It's a scam and it's overpriced and it's shit.
Yeah, like
'Cause-
the sets look incredible. The people are unbelievable performers. The songs are really catchy. So unless you go see The Wizard of Oz, it's not going to be as good as this, really, because it's basically a musical on film. Like it is.
Yeah.
It was obviously a stage play before it became a film.
Yeah, 100%.
But-
This is what I expected when I went to go see the theatre. This is what I was expecting, and it's nothing like that. Bullshit.
No. And this scene also is very good at setting up basically the plot. Because then we've got Glinda the Good Witch telling Dorothy what she needs to do, the Wicked Witch saying, I'm going to stop you, and ha ha ha, I'm off, and I'll get you, finally, eventually. Another high point, I've got a couple on their path to...
Well, this is where I start getting low points.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go with mine then.
Go on.
Chris just looks
Huh?
like he wants... I've
No,
got my
carry on.
Scarecrow in the background, but this is not a high point for me. I just wanted it because I quite like...
Ah, right, okay, I
God.
thought that's where you go with man. But
No,
next
I'm not
one's
going
the
with
Lion. Is the next
Well,
high point.
I have Tin Man first then, so I'm going with Tin Man because I have no recollection of the angry trees.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
The first other boss tree who the apple tried to take. I really loved him. He was a great character. I wanted more of him.
witch hiding behind a tree. What was she doing?
I think that's like a 1930s like Easter egg that you're like kids are supposed to be like, oh, she's there.
Right.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I don't recall it. I was like, oh my god, the witch is there, and then she just like runs off, and you don't see her for a while. I was like, oh, that's a
I didn't
little
mind it.
touch.
I was watching them and something like moved in the corner of my eyes. Like, what the fuck was that? What have I missed here? So I did rewind it back and seen the witch just like
there you
standing
go.
behind a tree.
Back before you could rewind it, you would have missed it, but somebody would have
Yeah.
said the Wicked Witch was there. The Wicked Witch was there. So it's like, yeah, I quite like that aspect. But yeah, the angry trees, enjoyed them. Completely didn't remember them at all. And then like the Tin Man is, I think he's probably the least interesting of Dorothy's
Yeah.
companions. The others are a bit more fun. But him needing the oil and him is really well done. And then once he finally starts dancing, his dancing absolutely kills me. And then him like doing the toot toot at the top of his helmet just absolutely cracks me up. So I enjoyed the Tin Man's dance from being
That kind of
rock solid.
area was spoiled for me because of the conspiracy that's going around that scene. I spent the entire thing just watching the background to see if it was real, but I couldn't see anything other than a bird.
So, either I didn't know or had forgotten about this particular bit because as they're running off, I noticed something moving in the background. So what the hell is that? It's like, oh, it's just one of the stork things or herons from earlier on. I was like, oh, okay then. And then I finished the film looking at trivia about it, and it's all about, oh, there was like a crew member in the background, which somehow spun into being it was a munchkin hanging himself in the background. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about?
I
So
in the old
apparently,
VHS, because it was all grainy, it just looked like the stork was
just like
swinging.
swinging.
yeah. So yeah, and then I've since seen apparently it appeared on the internet like within the last 20 years. Someone actually edited it. This is what it really looked like properly before they edited it out, and it's like it's literally just a silhouette of this body hanging backwards and forwards. So yeah, I was unaware of that till after I watched the film, but it did catch my eye. I was like, what the hell's that? Oh, it's just one of them daft birds from earlier on. Right, off you go with the lion, Chris.
Ah, it's got to be the best entrance, surely. Just this guy just like jumping there going, rah, rah, and just like, put him up, put him up. As that has is that where that came from? Or is
It
he
must
copying
be,
something else?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same.
yeah.
It's like how many cartoons in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s copied the way the lion talks. Like there's the put him. There's another thing as well he does, but I don't know what it is. Where it's like a very much a cartoon character kind
Yeah.
of thing. But yeah, the put him up must come from this. It has to.
That's when I realized about him. Wait a minute, he's a guy from the start, and I was like, oh, my mind's blown here. This is where this is all
Yeah.
kicking. It all makes sense now.
That's good.
I mean, he
But
had some great tail acting as well.
The tail is great. I like at least 2 or 3 scenes. My eye was drawn
Yeah.
to the tail.
I've got a fun
So-
fact to hear before Andy ruins it. That actual was a lion's hide that he was wearing.
Yeah,
And he used to sweat so much that he had to dry it
Yep.
after every day.
You can
That
tell
must
because
have
like
absolutely reeked.
before he gets pruned up, it does look absolutely fucked as well.
yeah.
Like, you
I,
can
I
just
think
tell
it's the
something.
worst. It looks so bad. He looks so little like a lion. Like he's literally like that is now a thing. Is you the lion from the Wizard of Oz is different to all other lions. Like it's a totally different thing now. But yeah, a horrible costume. And apparently it was like what was it, howling as well. So
Yep.
believe it. Okay,
There's a lot
for
of nothing
me-
that happens here.
we're at Oz now for me is where I am in terms of high points. I'm
So
skipping
I-
the poppy fields. I don't
Yeah.
know why the poppy fields is in the film, but I do have a trivia
Well,
note
that's so
on
they can all
that.
get asbestos poisoning because that snow was asbestos.
That was my trivia note. Yes, the snow was asbestos. But I'm at Oz. I quite like the door banter. I don't know about you guys with the chap at the door, clearly stolen by Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's not a high point. Look, the guy coming to the door and like, why
No,
are
it's
you
like-
why are you ringing the bell?
Yeah.
There's a sign,
Yeah.
and it's like there's no sign, and then the sign says don't ring. The bell's
okay,
broken.
got ya.
Yeah.
Like, but they just rang it. Like that's quite funny, and then knock on it, and the guy's like, "Oh, hi, it's you." Blah, blah, blah.
That reminds me of the whole
Yeah.
just the Oz being an epic set again.
Yeah, great, like unbelievably looking set.
And that horse that changed color, it's just like, did they really paint the horse that color? Then it's like, oh, it's changed color again. That poor horse.
Again, yeah. But yeah, the set is really good. I don't remember them getting like the done up in the sort of the pampering
I must have
place.
blanked and missed that because I was watching it with Nicola. I was like,
You mean you power
why
nap,
has Dorothy
Chris?
got cuddles now?
You
No,
fell asleep.
I watched the thing. Like, Dorothy had cuddles.
He does
and
this.
the lion had
I've noticed
cuddles.
when he watches the
and I was
film.
Yeah,
like, I missed it.
he must have done. I don't
This is
think
like
they
when
did that. Just that
Chris
scene
watched
out
episode 3 of Ahsoka, got to the end and went, I'll rewatch that then.
right, okay. But yeah, I don't remember the Wicked Witch of the West skywriting. That was new to me, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. But then the trivia on that has really piqued my interest, which I will read verbatim, copied and pasted from the internet. The famous Surrender Dorothy skywriting scene was done using a tank of water and a tiny model of the witch attached to the end of a long needle. The syringe, there's like a hypodermic needle, the syringe was filled with milk, and the tip of the needle was put into the tank, and the words were written in reverse and filmed from below. And actually, at the end of Surrender Dorothy, it originally said "or die," and that was cut out before the film made to a premiere. It's like this is painstakingly difficult and to
Practical
to
effects.
do.
That's what you get.
Yeah,
Exactly.
practical
But
effects. It works.
I
doesn't
watched
it?
it back, and I'm like, it doesn't look like milk and water. It's incredible. It's really good, and then the witch looks amazing as well. And especially earlier on, you could like I didn't realize to look back at it that it was just like a tiny little toy witch on a wire flying around when she leaves leaves the building to go do it. Watching it back, I was like, oh my god, it isn't actually even really her. It didn't even.
Yeah.
It looks so good. It didn't clock to actually see what it is, if you know, to look for it properly. But yeah, they should have left it or die, and I think that would have been fine.
Yeah.
Threats of death. I'm not
This
too
is the
bad.
bit that I forget about the film, like, because I always thought, like, the Oz and that's it ends. I forget they have this whole extra half an hour of having to go kill the witch.
They have a quest to do.
Every time I forget, it's like, oh yeah, they've done it.
Ah.
That's it, over.
I always thought that happened beforehand. I thought she gets captured, she gets killed by
Yep.
she kills the witch, and then she goes to
They
Oz.
finally make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they finally make it to Oz, and oh my god, he's not. Spoiler for later. He's not actually a wizard. Yeah, I'm the same. Like, basically, I've only got one more high point beyond them first getting to Oz, and that's the Wicked Witch being delightfully evil with like one or
Yes.
two little bits which I'll mention. But yeah, at this point, I was just like, I'm dying for her to come back on the screen again, so I enjoy her just being like malevolent.
I'm melting. I'm melting.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, they get like the Oz. Oz looks freakier than I remember. The projected wizard of us. I think I've
Yeah.
still got him as a background. He looks way weirder. But yeah, him immediately sending them off on a wee mission had completely gone from my mind as well. But
Well,
yeah,
it's 100% when James Franco plays him, though. It's a spoiler. If you watch the James Franco version, then actually you know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, if you watch them in chronological order like that. But yeah, then they trot back off. I don't know if you get any other high points really, because to me nothing was that great except from one minor thing, which I'll touch on if you have any others.
My next last high point is just killing the witch.
killing the witch. Well, before we get to the killing of the witch, when she has Dorothy captured, and then she like leaves her alone for a minute, which I might come into later on as well. Dorothy looks into the crystal ball and sees her Auntie M, and she's like, "Oh, Auntie M, are you okay? Or Auntie M, I need help," and all that. And it just turns into the witch, and the witch is like, "Ah, I'm evil, Auntie M." Like just makes fun of her in the crystal ball. Like you've literally left the room like a minute ago. It's like this is when I was totally just like fanboying for the Wicked Witch for the rest of the film at this point. So yeah, her being just the evilest person ever, just for the sake of it. And that was my last high point, because everything else was, I don't know, kind of a retread. I still don't know, should I still be like best twist? It's the wizard is just a guy in a curtain. Like I don't know. Is it? Are we way beyond with the cultural significance of the film that can even be considered for best twist? I don't know, actually. But yeah, I have no other high points. So Chris, have you had one or two? Carry on.
Hang on.
No, like literally just the witch getting killed scene and the scarecrow.
Her melting. Her melting. That was the other thing. When I was a kid, I watched that. I would fast forward every other Wicked Witch scene, but when she was getting melted, I'd watch. Yeah, she's dead now. Like, that's how you get her. She gets wet.
I actually thought she was actually melting. I don't know how they did. Like now I know how they did it, but back then I was like, "This is mind blowing." She's like squished flat as a pancake.
Heavy trapdoor usage in this film.
Yep.
Yeah. Point 3, low points, worst bits and things about the film. Right, Chris mentioned earlier, how scabby does the lion and the MGM logo look? I was just like, that lion has not been treated very well. This must have been the best looking lion from a very bad bunch they could get. But you're right, the OG lion.
I keep forgetting how long old films take to start. There's all this like, you know, in the like theaters do like the run through of all the songs and stuff.
Yeah, the kind of, I forget what they call it, but yeah, like the kind of medley of all the bits of
medley
the songs that are to come. Yeah.
And then that random minute long message.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose. Which I was about to start. I was about to start writing down, but it had gone. Well, I realised I didn't do at that point. My first low point. I love him. He's great in the film. However, the character Toto is a damn menace to society.
What?
He's the best thing about the film.
He chased a cat into someone's garden. I don't know why Dorothy let him go into her. She seemed to be saying I let him into the garden. And then it seems like he bit Miss Gulch. It's like, she's got a good case. I can see why the police was giving her this later. And then she finally gets him back. He jumps in through a window that somehow is a window later on. I don't know how that happened. But then they find this lovely man out in the woods. And Toto just straight in, I'm going to eat your sausages, mate. He's the damn menace. So, yeah, I didn't realise how much of a dick Toto is. I don't think he's going to get best bail end. I think I've got other ones that are more bail.
Oh, definitely. But
Toto, in my opinion, I love him, but it needs to be a little less of a menace.
I've already mentioned one of mine is the Munchkin sequence goes on for far too long. I could have done without the three guys singing a song.
Yeah,
like three ballerinas singing a song.
100%. Like the first bit's all right, but I like it as a high point. That entire, like not the Munchkins, but the scene, the setup scene is pretty good. But for me, it's the nightmare fuel of these. Like I still remember a kid going, like these guys are scary. Like are they kids? I don't know. Like I was unaware of little people back then as a kid, and even now it's just like it's getting worse. Like I notice it's like, oh my god, all their bald caps look fucking weird. And like I said, that guy behind Chris looks like he's on fucking roids. It's just like kids watch this. Terrifying me right now. The Munchkins are the scariest thing.
I've got the Munchkins. This is my next low point. The most terrifying aspect of the film.
They are horrifying.
Horrible things.
They are like those three. They sum it up perfectly. Like the little song's fine, but as it zooms in and they're all coming up and doing the little things, and even the three ballerina girls, it's like two of them you could tell little young girls, and one of them's like an evil person on roids as well. It's just like fucking hell.
Scary looking thing. Yeah.
It's just
that little scene there. I saw that little blue guy everywhere.
Aye.
And I was like, he's like popping up, and I was like, oh my god! I
told you,
he's coming after me.
He's Satan. He's got horns. For the love of God.
This is the first time watching this film, so obviously the whole point of the film is that everybody's in Oz as in the real world, with the exception of one person. I'll get to that. This is the first time I've connected the Munchkins to the chicks that were in the farm. I've never connected these before, and this what connected it to me is one bit where Dorothy walks past, and there's a whole bunch of Munchkins hatching out of eggs.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
And I was like, why are they hatching out of eggs? I was like, oh, and they're all small and they're all kind of squeaky. It's like, the chicks from earlier on that shit. That's who these munchkins. They need saved. They only need taken out. Then this is the first time I ever connected that.
Mind
before.
blowing.
That's blowing my
I know.
mind as well.
I've not read that anywhere either, but that was just me. It's like, oh my god, the
You
chicks,
should write a
'cause
philosophy book on this. Fuck it
I
out.
should, yeah. The chicks are such a weird scene. The chick scene as well. I forgot to mention it earlier. It's like they're just hurriedly. The incubator's not working. Dorothy, sod off. Stop pestering us. All these, and then Dorothy picks up a chick and then just goes, and then puts it in the box as well. It's like really weird. But yeah, I'd never connected in before. Now I have a big gap without any low points until we're in Oz here. So fire away with some other ones, Chris.
I'll say my bit is the Yellow Brick Road. Yes, it is its most famous bit, but fuck me, it's so long. Like like the highlight for me, like the songs were good and the Scarecrow's overacting is a high point and a low point at the same time, because he'll come up in for Chris's awards is he is in the wrong film, like 100%.
Right. Okay. I've got a different vote.
Right. I just feel like he is like when we're all dancing, he's the one that's absolutely giving it fucking laldy. And the rest of them are all very much a sequence and he's just doing his own thing. He's just loving life. But that entire scene, it's like what kept me going is just like, are they gonna walk into the wall? Are they gonna walk into the wall? Cut away.
I was waiting for it, like when's it gonna cut away? Or because
they leave it to such a last minute of them to hit the wall. I'm like, and they're still just giving it loud. It's like, I reckon there's a take where they just go fucking bang onto the side.
For a laugh, the director's like, don't say cut yet, don't say cut yet. They'll keep going, they'll keep going.
I want to see it, but no, just, I don't know, the whole build up, because it was almost the same. It's like, you all know they need something. Even like, if you didn't know that, it's just like, right, I get it.
And then they always sing the same song.
And then they add a bit
what they
to
need
it,
as well. And it's like, it's the same song again. It's the same song again. It's like, yeah.
And by the time they like, I know
just take
it's like the Cowardly Lion, but the time that came up, it's like, oh my god, I fucking hate you.
I think that's why I didn't like him as much either, because I was like, I've seen this twice before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a random question. Like everybody we've seen the film at the start is in the Wizard of Oz. Why isn't her Auntie Em and her Uncle Henry?
Yeah. Well, there's one person who is in Oz who's not. I don't know if I've got them as a low point, but Glinda, the Good Witch, she's not in the real world. Auntie. And I thought so too. I think probably subconsciously I always thought that was the Auntie character. But yeah, I think as far as I'm aware, she's like the mainest character that's in the Oz that doesn't have a real world counterpart. I'm assuming some of the people in Oz, like I connect the chicks to the Munchkins. I can't connect the people of Oz to the real world. But yeah, I don't know why the aunt and uncle aren't there. I don't have I haven't got my philosophy that deep in, I'm afraid, either. But yeah, I do have a lot on Glinda that I'm going to talk about later on. This is ignoring Oz the Great and Powerful, because she's in that as well, but ignore the story behind that. So my next low point for me, I don't want to think about how they made the horses different colours. So at that point, first seeing it, I was like, it's the 1930s. What have these poor horses gone through? But since writing that, I've learned that, gelatin powder, that different colours, and then if they left it on too long, as you can see with the purple horse, they start eating it. As the purple horse is
that's why it's not away.
It's like eating its skin, basically, because of the colour. But yeah, gelatin powder colouring. So I don't know if that's what you put in sweets or something, I don't know. But I still think it can't be good for them poor horses. Next low point for me, this is kind of similar to what you guys were mentioning. I didn't really need the lion having a sing-song once to reach the wizard's door.
Yeah.
About being the king of the jungle or whatever it was. I was like, oh my god, you're there. The door is there. And
also, they're such fucking terrors. They're pulling up the carpet, they're smashing plants. I would be kicking them out.
The van. Oh, is it a lamp? Is it whatever it is when he makes the crown? I was like, oh my god.
No wonder the wizard doesn't want to see you. Menace.
Exactly, yeah.
The witch, she doesn't do anything other than like throw like a fireball at the Scarecrow. She has Dorothy. She just, all I have to do is kill you and the slippers are mine. I'm going to turn this timer and you have until this runs out. I'm going to leave the room and you can do what you want. Just fucking kill the bitch.
I don't understand the witch. Like, I'm the same. It's just like, she was there with like Glinda. It's just like, she was like, even like almost touching the slippers. Like, could you just pull them off? Was there some kind of spell she couldn't do
over and take them off?
Yeah, just pull the fucking slippers off.
So apparently, book-wise, there's a thing where Glinda protects Dorothy with a kiss. At one point, Glinda kisses Dorothy on the forehead, and that kind of puts some sort of protection spell on her.
Right.
But as you can see, the witch gets the chance to get the slippers at one point, and it's like a lightning bolt zap. But that's where, almost verbatim what Krista said, for worst plan later on, I've got written down, Wicked Witch wants the slippers, captures Dorothy, but she's forgotten she needs to kill Dorothy to get them off of her.
Yeah.
So she flips an egg timer around and waits. It's like, no, you've got the pieces to, like, it's not like, aha, I have poisoned you.
Yeah,
and I'll turn this over, and here to make fun of you like I did with the crystal ball, you can watch this empty, and when that's empty, you are dead. No, she's like, damn, I need to kill you to get them.
If she can't do
later,
it,
and then leaves.
Get one of the flying monkeys. You've got a dagger. Jab her through the heart, and I want those slippers.
Yeah, she's all charisma and no strategy. The Wicked Witch, unfortunately. I had the Wicked Witch. Was something to do with a low point next. Oh yeah. The witch tells the monkeys, go get her. Go get Dorothy in the Forbidden Forest thing. And also, I have sent a little insect to take the fight out of them.
Yeah.
And I went, no, the monkeys just arrive and capture them. Because there was a scene that was removed from every released version of the film to shorten the runtime down that involved a jitterbug, a creature, an insect, a jitterbug, that if it bit the characters, they all start dancing. And that was supposed to kind of slow them down a little bit.
Nice.
But they chopped it out for runtime, but they kept the line in with her being like, oh, I sent an insect to slow them down. And then like, there's no, like, there's nothing in the film. It's just a random line that's just left with no context. So that was kind of confusing for me. The witch, again. The witch's demise is my next low point. I don't know if you get anything before that.
Or just water.
No.
Water? Like just water. Why does she mess around with fire so much, knowing that water is what's going to kill her? Why is there a bucket of water in her castle? She surely should be like, right, no water. That's the rules. Little witch guards guys with the Busby hats on. No water anywhere at any point. She's running a sloppy ship, I think.
Now you mentioned, why does Dorothy, like, he's right there, just tip it on. She goes like that. Yeah. And misses his arm and splatters her.
Yeah. I think I don't know if that's how it ends in the book, but that feels like a real cop-out ending of how to defeat the. There's no, like we always talk about the moral. There's no moral of the story there. It's just like you just stop her with water. Now, where does water come into like a spiritual thing? Like she's the good person, she's the bad person. How do we defeat the bad person? You chuck water on them. Like I don't understand. Like where's the moral there? Where's the lesson I'm supposed to learn how to defeat your enemies?
I would just stop kids going for a bath for years.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've got two more low points. Any others from you guys?
No, not really.
Mine is just the wizard. It's a bit of a bell end. And then the anticlimactic. Like it was funny, and I giggled like fuck when it's like, right, we can all go home, and my magical balloon. And the balloon just goes. It's like, ha. Totally, that's exactly how I would do it. Oh, I don't know how to fly this thing. I'm just going away in the balloon.
Yeah, he also had no flame to make it work. Like a hot air balloon, you need to make hot to make it balloon. He didn't have any hot; it just floated off. But then again, it is Oz, where anything can happen. Why did Dorothy need to do the Lion and the Tin Man like that? When she's like, "Goodbye, Lion. Goodbye, Tin Man." Scarecrow, I think I'm going to miss you most of all. For all of 5 minutes down the road earlier. It's like, no,
I can imagine. I can imagine what Theva's status was. Oh, I'm going to miss you most of all. The fuck I helped you so much.
What? I've saved you on several occasions. I've been there every time you needed someone, just because you met him 2 fields earlier.
Man chopped the door down for her.
Yeah.
To get out.
Yeah.
But setting some guy on fire, but obviously just remembered or fucked her memory or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And my last low point, that I was always under the impression that, was it really Oz or was it all in her head? Nope. Mandela effect alert. It was definitely all in Dorothy's head, like undoubtedly. Another Mandela effect, I was sure we saw her slippers. I thought she wakes up in the bed. Oh my God, I was in this wonderful land. What are you talking about, you dafty? And then we pan down and she's still in my head, that's how I thought the film ended. Right. She still had the ruby slippers on. But no, apparently that's false memory as well.
But then Return to Oz.
Maybe.
That film doesn't make sense then.
I can't remember how that fits in. And then Oz, great and powerful. Like, it has to actually exist, basically, for these places to
Yeah.
exist. But in this, as far as this film's concerned, it's all in her head. That was a dream. It was her learning a life lesson. That's what I think this film is. Like,
But no, the other ones are not. 100%. Great and Powerful Oz sets up the Oz, and then the Return of the Oz sets up Dorothy going back to Oz.
Exactly. So,
She starts floating in a river. Maybe she gets knocked out in the second one.
Maybe. She might do. She might get re-knocked out and end up back there again. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, at this point...
This is back before mental health was a thing, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
She's actually just
any other low points?
A padded room with a straight jacket on.
Yep, she's a fucking nutter.
Flying monkeys. Flying monkeys.
Where's my slippers?
Right, out of low points, yes.
Yep.
Aye.
Stats, no shits, no F-bombs. It was the 30s, wouldn't do things like that back then. Explosions, now I've got one. Now that was the witch disappearing in like a fireball. But then these are also fireballs.
Yes.
But I don't think they're just fire, they're not explosions. So I maybe just go no. There's none. I would say nothing exploded, basically, might where I go. Deaths, I believe two, both the Wicked Witches, and I think that's it. I can't think of anybody else that dies. I think it is just the two Wicked Witches. One gets squished, one gets wet. Our usual quotas. I got very excited when we saw a cow in the farmyard. Like, yay! And then it flew past the window later on, which was a minor low point for me with how bad this, I don't know, stenciled people flying past the window looked. That was 1930s special effects.
I loved
the one
it.
thing,
so good.
the one thing that let them down. Apparently, the witch, when Miss Gulch turns into the witch, she's got sparkly slippers on. The theory being that that's actually the Wicked Witch of the East. And that's how she gets squished. She's right outside. And she looks identical, apparently, to the Wicked Witch of the West. So maybe, I don't know, it's a theory. Probably ruined by one of the other films. No goats in the farmyard. There were pigs, there was chickens, there was a dog, but there was no goats. Dead animals, I think they all survived, but
that cow was flying.
Yeah, I suppose the cow's probably a goner. But then, do we even know? Because she got knocked out before the house went in the air. So the cow might never have actually been in the air. We don't know. But yeah, on set, I bet there's some chicks that died, and probably the horses were a bit worse aware as well. Pedos, I think we're safe for pedos. On that subject, how old is Dorothy? How deep in the trivia did you guys go to find this?
I don't know.
16.
Judy Garland, 16. In the books,
16.
In the books, Dorothy, 10 years old. In the film, allegedly 12 years old. Because they made Dorothy have a corset and strapped down her breasts to make her look younger, and she was 16 at the time. So she's definitely playing younger than 16, which she doesn't look 16 anymore. She looks like she's probably approaching 20 in today's age, and definitely doesn't look 12 going back there. But she feels like an adult, like a young adult, that she wants to get away from home to go to the big city, not because she's a child and angry at her parents. It's just that I'm old enough to. Why are you trying to stop me? But yeah. Didn't feel like she was a 12-year-old. Tom Cruise, Tackleberry trifecta. We can just leave that, really. We're not getting near it, I don't think. There was a bit of running. Wizards. How many wizards were there in The Wizard of Oz?
2.
None.
Yeah, I think...
I was saying 2.
Yeah, it's hard, because
he was a wizard at the start, and then he was a wizard in Oz.
Well, see, at the beginning, he is, Professor Marvel. So he's a magician. He's not necessarily a wizard. And in Oz, the guy's like, I'm a good man, but I'm a bad wizard. So he's identifying as being a wizard. But what makes one a wizard? Like, do you have to have like a Hogwarts letter?
You just believe. If it goes to if people want to be what they want to be, they can be a wizard. So I reckon he's a wizard twice in this.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe we'll say 2 on Andy's vote then. Okay. And then how many witches are there in The Wizard of Oz?
3.
Yeah.
3.
I say 3 as well. So I did think it was funny that there's definitely more witches than there are wizards in the film The Wizard of Oz, which is kind of unusual. But yeah, it's definitely 3 witches, because Dorothy is not a witch, which is funny. I saw someone else laughing about this, that Glinda, the good witch, walks up and says to Dorothy, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" And then later on, she very much, the same character establishes, oh, witches are only ugly when they're bad witches. If I was Dorothy, I'd be like, wait a minute here. When you first arrived, you asked if I was a bad witch. And now you're saying only bad witches are ugly. So it's, I thought it was quite funny. Dorothy steps out into the land of Oz at 18 minutes. And then I forgot to go and look and see when she came back to Kansas, but it was like about 3 minutes to go in the film. So probably about an hour and 10 minutes later, I think she comes back again. But yeah, 18 minutes we're in Kansas, and then maybe about 4 or 5 at the very end when she's in her bed. Did they say the thing? Did they say the Wizard of Oz?
Multiple times.
Yeah, at least 12.
16 times.
Ah!
But not until 30 minutes was the first one, which made me laugh that she got to Oz after 18 and it took a further 12 minutes for somebody to mention the wizard when she was there. But yeah, every time they sang We're Off to See the Wizard, they said it at least 3 times. They said the Wizard of Oz. They said wizard probably about another 20, 40 times because they kept saying that all the time. Chris, stats from you. I hope you've counted one thing that I left alone for you.
I haven't counted anything because I don't know what to count.
Oh.
So I've got random facts from this, like behind the scenes thing. So it's probably stepping on Andy's toes.
Just like Andy's gimmick he does.
Yeah.
I didn't want to count it, so I just thought I'd see all the shit that went wrong with the behind the scenes. But you've already mentioned the witch burning herself alive, pretty much. Her stunt double did the same, like set herself on fire on a broomstick. This film got Judy Garland hooked on amphetamines just to make her more productive on set, and the director slapped her in the face because she laughed so much.
I saw that, yeah.
And a fun fact, when Judy Garland died, there was a tornado in Kansas in the same day.
That was my other fun fact I was waiting to back up Andy on, was that
That's a good one. Chris just stole everything there.
I mean, there's a lot more. We've already mentioned
Have you got the Munchkin cocaine parties?
No, one other one was like Bruce said, the dog, the dog got paid more than most of the Munchkins.
Yeah.
The original guy that played the Tin Man, he ended up in an iron lung because of the silver makeup.
Yep,
that's right. They had to change it because it was they went to silver
aluminium
paste
powder or something like that.
Yeah, instead of powder they went to paste or something like that.
Yeah.
What I thought you might count was Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Because they said it about 4 times, no, maybe about 5 or 6 times in a row. It was the same line, and I thought that's the sort of thing that'll annoy Chris, and he'll start counting how often they say "follow the Yellow Brick Road." I thought you might have done that.
What was annoying me is what's at the end of the red road.
Wow.
What annoyed me was
I was watching it. I was just sort of going, "What's the red road?"
You have to watch the James Franco one.
I can't remember.
Me same here. What annoyed me with the Yellow Brick Road was that she walked over some bits to get to the beginning.
I know.
And then she followed it all the way. I was like,
yeah.
you can see where it goes. It's over there.
Start with the big bit. Go.
Okay, Andy, are there any fun facts left?
No, just the Munchkins spent most of their money on cocaine and had loads of parties in the hotels, apparently.
Fair enough. You would, wouldn't you? I suppose. Point 5 on the podcast. This is a 10-point podcast quiz now for Andy to take the reins. Andy, over to you.
Right. This one is called We're Off to See the.
Right.
And you've got to fill in what we're off to see.
Okay.
So I'm going to read you a synopsis backwards, and you have to tell me what the film is.
What?
Right, I think I follow.
So all you have to do is shout in once you know the answer.
Is it going to be backwards like rotten?
No, I'm not that good. I'm going to read you the whole words, but starting at the end of the synopsis, word by word to the front.
Word by word.
Himself more than us.
Yes.
So it's like going to be Oz of Wizard there. Is it going to be like that?
Yes.
Right. Oh my God. Right. Okay.
Right. So just shout when you know the film, okay? And I need full title names.
Okay.
This is a dyslexic nightmare, so bear with me.
Yes. It's got a nightmare to listen to, I think.
Right. So we're off to see that, and it's a film, right? Here we go. So, him, awakening trouble, finds he, magic of world, a enters and life dreary, escapes. He,
is it Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone?
It is. Yes, it is. So that was Harry Potter, an 11-year-old orphan discovers, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you got it right. Okay. Literally, the next word I was about to read was Hogwarts. Which
good. I'm glad I got in with it.
So he got it. So that's one up to Bruce. Next one. We're off to see the destroyed, be, can, it, where, place, only the Doom Mountain to...
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Return of the King.
Nope.
Lord of the Rings, the
Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes, Bruce got it.
No, he said the Fellowship of the Ring. I said the Lord of the Rings.
I said Lord of the Rings the first time.
No, you need the full title. Sure, it's the full title. So that's 2 to Bruce.
Baloney.
Next one, we're off to see the Down Beast, the Hunt to Seafarer, Old, and...
Jaws.
Yes. Chris has given up now.
I was Jurassic Park, and then when he said Hunt, and I was like, "Ah, it could be Jaws." And then Seafarer, I was like, "Jaws."
Right, next one. Portraying are they soldiers that become to forced are
Dog
movie.
soldiers.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, Bruce got it.
Yes.
That was amazing. Basically, Chris, this is what it sounds like forwards. Through a series of freak encounters, a group of actors become a big budget war movie and are forced to become the soldiers they are portraying.
Okay.
Right, they get harder. Right, next one. Program, security, heroic, of help, the, with, is, escape, of chance, only, his, where, games, gladiatorial, in, participate.
Gladiator?
Nope. To forced and world digital the into abducted is hacker computer
Tron?
A. Tron, Bruce got it. Unbelievable. Right, couple more. Right. Wrong horribly goes experiment.
Jurassic Park.
Nope. His of after
Fly?
hybrid fly. Literally Bruce got it because I was hybrid fly / man giant. Bruce always seems to get it before the key words. Right, next one. Queen, evil, and
Alien.
no, from baby special, protected to order in journey per big word I can't say, undertake to chosen, farmer young A.
Kung Pao.
No. I'm going to have to pass on that one. It was Willow.
Off.
Right, next one. Universe, the purge to plans with warrior, fanatical, a stop to together, pull, must, criminals, intergalactic of group A.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes, it is, Chris. There you go.
Oh, he's on the
Hey, got
board.
one.
He's on the board.
Town, small, A, on, monstrous, mischievous, malevolence, of, board,
Gremlins.
A. What do you say, Chris?
Gremlins.
Gremlins, it is. Gremlins.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
Right.
One
more.
Stopping just to see if I get it now.
I kind of a little
One
bit.
more, but Bruce can't. You can't get it because it's my last one anyway. See if Chris can just do a comeback. Apocalypse, zombies, the, by, disrupted, are roommates, lay about his.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. There you go. Bruce knows his.
I gave Chris a window there, but he didn't even guess.
Bruce knows his random
7-2.
synopsis backwards.
I got the first 6 in a row there.
No, the second. I'm counting the second one because you just said the Fellowship of the Ring.
I
said
think
the Lord of
the
Rings,
second one
Fellowship
threw
of
him
the
off.
Ring.
Put Chris in the back foot, but there you go.
Fair enough. I said Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. And
Oh, we all
no.
said like
Yeah.
just like Lord of the
And
Rings.
then I was like, Fellowship of the Ring. Like, I felt like Lord of the Rings was established at that point.
It was established.
Because we
That's
knew
why
what
I
it
gave
was.
to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't care.
Like movies within movies. Chris, I've not double checked this, so good luck with movies within movies.
I'm
The
glad,
Temple Podcast
because
universe.
I'm going out on a limb and saying absolutely nobody has appeared
think
in previous
nobody.
films.
I picked like there was one Munchkin who had a colorized picture on one of my apps, and I was like, oh, maybe he was in movies a wee bit later. I don't know. He's done not anything we've done. So there's a chance, an outside chance, that Munchkin was in something.
we the fan to come in.
When I was looking through people, a lot of them had died before our first film that we did. So I was like, I'm just going to count that.
Is Alien the second oldest? I think Alien
so,
might
yeah.
still be the second oldest. It's not far away.
When did
But
Cocoon
yeah,
come out?
in the 80s. So if anything's
Oh, no,
pre-80s.
Amityville Horror. Wasn't that 60s?
Yeah, that. No, I think it was 70s, mid 70s,
Right.
early 70s. So yeah, anyway,
Okay.
if that's 30 something years after this. So yeah, there's a good chance that everyone would have died off. So you're saying nobody, I probably agree nobody. Have you recast us into the film? Which reminds me.
I did. Pretty much going by your picture, I've put us as your picture. So
I'm here.
after being at Thorpe Park, I'm pretty sure Andrew will agree that I am the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah. Chris let out the best
Uh,
scream I've ever heard on a roller coaster. So much so at it was basically a roller coaster that blasts you at like 80 mile an hour. You go straight up, it arcs over and comes back down. Now, you've already got the air knocked out of you. And when we get to the top, it does look like it's about to fall off. And then we, Chris, watched this for about half an hour while we were in the queue.
Right at the back.
he's at the very back. I'm at the second row with Chantel, and go up and like I was like, "Poof," and I just get to the waitlist point, and he just lets out this scream that sounded like Harry from Home Alone, just like ah. And I was like, and then I started laughing, but then I came down and lost all my breath, and by the time I got, I was just literally crying of laughter and trying to catch my breath.
Watched it, but I didn't expect it to go like look like you like it just came off the tracks. It's going to flip over, and that's what kind of freaked. I was like, "Oh my god!" And
then I just laughed for the rest of the ride because I just couldn't fucking. Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, no, Chris is definitely cowardly.
So Chris is definitely cowardly lion. Okay.
I put basically as it is like Andy has no heart, and I don't know, like you have.
I'm the stupid one
on occasion.
Stupid one. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of did it basically as we were on the video. Really, it was not. And then when I saw that I could make Andy's hat like this, I thought I had to go for that. And then definitely made Chris's ears come out on his one. So yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, all 10 minutes to knock up that. So I don't have anyone for it. Probably could have put Chantel as Judy, I guess. But okay. I did a little bit of a second thing. I thought, right, that's all from you, Chris, isn't it? I don't have anything else that you normally do.
No,
I feel like I've cut you short there. Also, because you didn't have to go through the universe. I thought what I normally do is what films are referenced in this, and it's like quite clearly nothing is going to be referenced in this, or at least nothing I've heard of. So what I might do is I'll find every film that we've done that references this. Now, basically, I ran out of time because it's impossible. IMDb has literally everything that has ever mentioned The Wizard of Oz or referenced The Wizard of Oz. So it took me so long to get through every single episode and all that. So I have a short list. This is basically prior to the year 2000, everything we've done that references this film. Star Wars, Little Shop of Horrors, Police Academy 4, Citizen Patrol, Masters of the Universe, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Last Action Hero, Dumb and Dumber, Street Fighter, Casper, Tank Girl, Waterworld, Face Off, Office Space, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Evolution, and then Minority Report. That's obviously this century. That is a small snippet because I
definitely reckon we've mentioned Wizard of Oz in every one of those as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there has to be at least 20 more, I would say, this film. But I ran out of time because it was just taking me so long to go through that list of everything. Yeah, this film is significant for all of cinema. Could it have come out in 1995, though? That is my question.
When did the sequel come out?
85.
Yeah.
85 was the sequel. So that means no. But I think this film could have come out in 1995, but it would probably be animated. If you look at the kind of children's family musical sort of films at this time, they were all your Pocahontases and your Lion Kings and all that sort of stuff. So it would probably have been animated. It would not be made like, but nothing dates it really. We think about all it was missing would be like a TV in her room on the farm, and I guess her outfit. But other than that, and then the black and white aspect would be gone as well. But yeah, it would definitely be animated if it came in 95. Dead Man Walking, kind of tough, but we knew the Wicked Witches were a goner. I went for both of them, but yeah, Wicked Witch, I guess. Nobody else jumped out at me. Toto, maybe he was walking a fine line. Who is in the wrong movie? Now, someone gave me an answer to this earlier. So
I said Scarecrow. He was overacting.
You think he's in the wrong movie? Does Chris have an answer? Who's in the wrong movie?
Nah, who did I mention before?
Maybe he didn't. Right.
No.
I'm going to argue this is the correct answer. Glinda is in the wrong movie because she doesn't have a real world counterpart.
Yeah.
So the whole gimmick of it's people from her life. But in my investigation here to find out, did I just miss who it was? Is it the ant? It's not the ant. There's a villain theory behind Glinda. Now this, ignore Oz the Great and Powerful because Glinda's in that. The villain theory from this film, because Glinda, the good witch, she is aware of the power of the slippers. Like she doesn't learn anything in the film. So when Dorothy first puts the slippers on, Glinda knows, knock the heels together and you'll go home. But she waits till the very end, once Dorothy's done her whole adventure, to tell her this. Which seems to be to kill all the witches and get rid of the wizard in Oz, and then send Dorothy on her way, telling her, oh yeah, actually now the slippers, you've had them the whole time, that's how you get home. So that Glinda can seize power in Oz. Because the witches are dead and the wizard's gone, and who are these munchkins and these people in Oz going to look up to now? It's Glinda. So I'm very much on board with the good witch villain arc that is in this film. She could the first time that's the thing. She's waiting in Oz. Like literally, Dorothy arrives and he's Glinda. Boom! I am the nice witch. You must know. I'm here to look after you. You've killed the bad witch. I'm the nice one. Now go do this. Never mind these slippers. You need them. Take them with you. And at the end, she uses them to get home. So yeah, she's in the wrong movie anyway because she doesn't have a real world counterpart. But yeah, I like this arc that she is she's the villain. I like it. Tropes. What tropes do we want to see die? I don't have one written down, so I'm gonna have to quite think here. So Andy, what's your trope?
Never follow like things. Like this is a yellow brick road, and it's always people like, oh, you got to go and do this. Just follow this path. Follow this. Like, if you follow a path, shit always happens. Like, I don't know when it's like,
stay off the beaten path.
Yeah, like cabin in the woods. Or just follow that trail up there. It always leads to bad news when somebody tells you to follow something. So, no, that needs to die.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Mine's is this person's bad, so they obviously have to hurt animals.
Yeah.
Like they did same in Gremlins. That old woman's like, I'm a bad person, so I'm going to hurt your dog.
Yeah,
or I want
Gremlins wasn't on that list. The Gremlins should be on that list as well. That was in the 80s. That woman who died on the old stair lift, she was definitely the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah.
It's the same thing. I'm a bad person, so I'm going to hurt your good animals and stuff.
I thought my trope might be films where someone just has to get home again. Like the whole point of this, I just want to get home again. It's like, oh, okay. So, I mean, it's hard to say the Wizard of Oz, I'm sick. Oh my God, it's this again because this film came out 100 years ago or whatever. But yeah, films where all they're trying to do is get home. I need a bit more than that. They're on a literal journey home. Point 7. What's that one thing? What's the one thing about the Wizard of Oz? For me, it's always going to be the oldest rewatchable film, I think.
I would say so.
Tough to find a film. It's that old film that's good. The oldest film that's good, maybe. I don't know.
I'm pretty much I'm banging on you because we said that. Like it even now, it's like, oh yeah, it's a square box, but I've seen like Blu-rays come out in the fucking 2000s that look blurrier than this shit. How did they make it so sharp? Insane. I don't get it.
That's what I just remembered one trivia I said that there's only one scene in the entire film that's shot outside. And that's the clouds that are at the beginning behind the credits. At the very beginning. That was an actual clouds. Everything else was filmed indoors in the studios, which is kind of funny. Chris, what's your one thing about the Wizard of Oz?
Now, for all the shit that went off behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a good kind of, I don't know, legend, urban myth sort of film, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, on to nominations. Point 8 on the podcast. Chris usually starts off. Yeah, we usually argue with him.
So, best actor, I'm going to say Judy Garland.
I think so. I can't bump the Wicked Witch up any higher than supporting.
I put her as best supporting. So.
Yeah, Margaret Hamilton. But yeah, I don't think anybody else outperforms Judy Garland.
I mean, the Scarecrow tries with his overacting.
Yeah, overacting award. The Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz overacting award. We can maybe go that way. I don't know if we've got
that's quite good.
Overacting. Yeah.
So my best supporting is Margaret Hamilton. My most underused is Margaret Hamilton as the witch because she's not in it.
Potentially. I don't know how much more I'd want of her because I do quite like how much there is of her because she's great and everything. But you may be right, yeah.
I'll put best team as like the Lion, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Dorothy.
Yeah.
My biggest bell end is not the witch, but Mrs. Gulch or Miss Gulch.
She's especially bell endy.
Mine's is the wizard.
Now, the wizard's a good shout. Now I've got Glinda because I learned about Glinda.
Now that you've got your theory, I quite like that one.
I think, again, as I always say, the spirit of biggest bell end is not that they're evil, it's just that they're a bell end. And I think knowing the whole time that you have...
Like your heels together, you can go home now.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that as the biggest bell end one.
Okay, I think Glinda wins. I had Dorothy, maybe, because Dorothy, the Scarecrow, I'm going to miss you the most with the Tin Man right there. But yeah, I think Glinda wins now on that theory.
Best villain on the witch?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Best
not effective, but best. Like there is a difference.
Best death of the witches, since it's
I've specifically gone the Wicked Witch of the East. Getting squashed by the house is better than getting water on you.
Oh yeah, I'll say that. Best inanimate object, red slippers.
I went giant crystal ball. I hadn't realised how big it was. The crystal ball is massive. I thought that is incredible. And then when she started mocking Dorothy on it.
I'm going with slippers because that's what I remember.
Fair enough.
Worst plan, the witch not killing Dorothy when she had a chance.
Yeah.
I need to time how long it is before I can kill you. Wait first.
I'll leave that one for you. Blah, 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 blah. Best animal total.
Definitely. Terry as Toto. Yes.
My best exit is the lion jumping through a window. I've never seen it before.
That was funny.
I was absolutely
I-
wet myself because he absolutely flies.
It goes like flying head first. I just have the Wicked Witch of the West in her puff of red smoke and fire because it's a great exit.
It is a
I never
great
realised
exit.
she actually got set
Yeah.
on fire
It's
the
best
second
entrance as
take.
well because she comes out like that.
She does.
I did have that as well.
I'd
So-
say her. Yeah.
I think her in and out. I think the line misses out for the exit as well because
Yeah.
there was fire when she left. There wasn't fire
Yeah.
when she arrived. It was just smoke.
It wasn't fire when she left for the rest of it. I've just set herself up. Blah, 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 blah. I put best costume as the lion because it's an actual lion hide.
I would say
I'd
Tin
say,
Man.
like,
Did a lion happen to die, or did he just go, "I want that costume"?
Uh,
Tell it.
maybe it's the MGM line when they attacked that person after they
I
filmed
mean,
it.
it was on
I
his death's
just
door, I
watched it
think.
going, "This is shit. This one. This
Yeah.
is fucking kill it and take his costume."
Yeah.
I like the Tin Man.
My-
There's a lot of effort.
My
into
best costume, I've got a different direction, is the Flying Monkey's sweet shirt and hat combo.
that.
I really like that shirt. I kind of want something like it. The kind of grey with the red kind of accents on it. So a three-way tie, I think, for best costume. I'm not budging on that.
I think that's me. Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. Best badass.
Oh,
Wicked Witch of the
transition.
West.
Mhm.
Oh,
Well,
best
if that's
transition,
one.
certainly. Wicked Witch of the West, she's a badass. She's
Yeah.
not very clever with planning, but the skywriting, when I found out it said or die at the end. Done the costume, entrance. Best hair, the Cowardly Lion post makeover when he gets the little bow in it. And then he brags, I got a permanent for the occasion. I like that. Best plan, again, this is retrospectively, Glinda had a cracking plan. Like, she has now seized power in Oz, so I'll go with that. Best score, I've just put yes. I think the whole thing, the
Yeah.
score. Best set, Andy mentioned, I think Oz is the best set.
Oh
but
shit! Yeah, aye,
Yeah,
that was
that
it.
was definitely the best one.
I think, including the room,
Mhm.
the main
Mhm.
wizard room is very good. Best song though, is that what you left for me, Chris? Because I think there's a debate to be had. I've got three nominees. I think Somewhere Over the Rainbow was timeless. It was the best
I
Oscar
like it.
winner, but it's not a personal favorite of mine. Ding Dong, The Witch is Dead is
Yeah.
pretty great.
I like that.
And then Follow Yellow Brick Road and kind of slash Off to See the Wizard because it's kind of the same song.
Yeah.
That's the one where I found myself literally singing out loud along.
Oh yeah, it's the one I
was
always
full.
remember too. That is my
Yeah.
favorite song. You can't pick. It's
Ding Dong,
definitely that
Witch
one.
is dead.
Ding Dong, The Witch is Dead for Chris. I think you lose 2-1 because
Yeah.
I was like, fall, the ball, the ball, the ball.
Yeah,
the ball.
it's a
and
catchy,
then
it's a catchy banger.
yeah, literally singing out loud when it came on.
If
So.
somebody leaves, gets fired from a job, if it's a female, I'll go, "Ding Dong, the Witch is dead."
Ding Dong, The Witch is Dead is good meme fodder. It's very good for that. Best special effects, the tornado, unless you
Mhm.
want something else. But I think,
Well, they're all
Mine-
pretty good for that. It's like doing that stockings somehow up there.
Yeah.
yeah, mind blown before and after knowing what it
Mm.
was. For me, I've done that. Danny John Jules, though, I did not expect to find a Danny John Jules.
Did
in
you?
this one here, Chris is looking at me sideways. The voice who says, "Wherefore art thou Romeo?" randomly in one song.
I remember
That voice is Adriana Caselotti, who was the voice of Snow White in the Snow White Disney film from 2 years earlier. I was like, well, there you go. She's kind of famous. She played Snow White in a famous Snow White movie. She was paid $1,000 to deliver that one line. In today's money, she was paid $53,000 to say,
Hell,
better than I did, "Wherefore art thou Romeo?"
I reckon the Munchkins spent more than that on cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, how many munchkins would it take to accumulate $1,000? Like
Well, they got paid £50
So,
a
yeah.
week.
Well, there you go.
each.
That's a lot of weeks. Yeah, I think it was it 20 odd weeks filming? I think it was
Mhm.
something like that. It was like half a year they spent filming it. But yeah, I thought Danny John Jules, Snow White from the famous Snow White animated movie. There we go. We'll go for that. Most obvious name, Scarecrow. Like, he's at least the Cowardly Lion, and then the Tin Man is not that obvious compared to Scarecrow. So I'm giving him most obvious name. Is the Scarecrow the stupidest character though? Because I have got that left a wee bit blank.
I
Nice.
was going to put him until at the end where he kind of follows the wire
He's
the
pretty
rope
smart.
was- with the guy's axe and smashes it, and he hides them as they're running away. So I'm going to say no.
I saw some aspect where someone was saying that actually the characters all already have what they're looking for throughout.
Yeah.
Like the Scarecrow comes up with a couple of ideas, and the Tin Man
So
has
the
a bit of heart.
situation-
The Lion, I always think the Lion jumps out. We first meet the Lion, he jumps out and he starts to try and fight with
Yeah.
everybody. So that doesn't seem very cowardly. Like, Very strange. So I'm not sure how stupid his character is. It's kind of weird. Maybe the lion seems a bit dumb.
Dorothy running outside in a tornado. She should have hid somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a good
She would have
point. Yeah.
smashed her face in and got knocked out.
Yeah. I think worst costume is the lion, but you could maybe argue someone else. I'm not that passionate about it. Worst plan we've done. Yeah, they're all a bit fine. Worst plan we've done. Worst twist. Honestly, water is what kills the witch. Like, honestly, is that the? I don't know. But best twist is the wizard's not a wizard. I don't know. I think
That's
we're way beyond.
for you because
I'm not sure.
Best twist.
I think we're way beyond it. I don't think it's good enough. Worst villain. Wicked Witch of the East.
Taking her by house.
Didn't seem that wicked, did she? But the one I want to hit on, my final one, worst science. First of all, the Scarecrow functions without a brain. That's quite bad science. But then he incorrectly hits the Pythagorean theorem once he gets a brain at the end. He's like, the two sides of an isosceles triangle, blah, 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 they find the third remaining side. That's not accurate. It's not an isosceles triangle. It has to be a right angle triangle, and it's only to find the hypotenuse. So he's actually wrong. So does that prove that he doesn't have a brain? Or I don't know. But worst
add fuel to his stupidest character.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe it is him. So yeah, worst science, the Scarecrow, whether it's him in his actual head and his actual science that he comes out with. Best product placement, Andy.
Oil.
Oil. Very good. Yes, oil.
It seemed to be a key point with his little oil can. So general oil.
It worked. Worked a treat. Point 9, the moral of the story. What lesson are we supposed to learn in The Wizard of Oz, Chris?
There's no place like home.
Don't
make a film back in the 40s because you will get fucked up.
Yeah, it only leads to drugs or death.
Save the 40s,
yes.
30s or something.
Yeah.
Andy, what's your moral of the story?
I'm pretty much going to have to go. It is the moral of the story, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no place like home or don't do drugs.
Yeah.
That's the two morals.
If you take drugs, kids, you look exactly like the kids behind them.
Yeah, that's what's in front of you. Not these kids that are behind me. The ones behind Chris. Point 10, the 10-point rating where we rate the film out of 10. Me first, and then Andy second, because I knew what his opinion kind of was, and Chris last. It's probably just fine, this film. Maybe even average through today's eyes, but historical significance and technical achievement and a bit of staying power means I'm giving it a 7 because I don't have it as one of my all-time greatest, but it's all-time good. I'll say that. Andy, what's your score?
There's not many films I can watch that are like before Die Hard and I can rewatch over and over again. But this is somehow one, and I don't like musicals. Everything about this film I shouldn't like. But I don't know why I like it. It's like watching Car Crash TV. Like, I'll put it on and I'll watch it, and I don't understand why this film does that to me. And I'm stunned by sets. I love a practical set. And I mean, I would say a good 5 of these points I'm about to give it are because of the sets. So I'm same as you, 7.
7 as well. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same level as you. Like the sets alone are phenomenal. It goes on for a bit too long. Like the whole Munchkin scene, just I got tired. My phone came out. The start of the movie, my phone came out quite quickly. I didn't fall asleep watching this film until last night. But I'm indifferent to it. I could do without it. I know it's like say I've a lot of films, so it gets a 5 for me. It's just average.
Historically significant is really what's carrying it, I think. Official rating is a 6, which is probably about fair because it's old now. But someone could argue me that this is a 10 out of 10. Like music, performances, bits like that. It could be a 10 out of 10, but nah, I'm not having it. It's a 6. I don't have a theme, but I've picked this and I've forgotten what else I picked. What else did I pick? Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah. Any theme? Evolving?
Wet
randomness?
Water. Water, yeah. Ensemble cast? No, Julie Garland's the star of this. It's not any. So, the witch flies in a broomstick, and then there's like a satellite in American Summer. Things falling from the sky. Because there's a tornado as well. Anyway, things falling from the sky, possibly. I can't remember what else off the top of my head. What's coming next? What is coming next is Andy, and hopefully his theme that I've remembered of, stars that we have never featured before.
Well, see, I was going to change that because there's a banging film I wanted to do, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and keep with my theme.
Right.
So you can argue cases as we go along because they'll become more and more dubious. However, I'm pretty confident we've definitely done actors in this film that we've never done before. It's also a category of a film that I think we've never done before.
Ooh,
And it's a
interesting.
category massively out of my comfort zone. It's a bit of a gangster noir.
A gangster noir. Very unlike you, Andy.
And it's out of my category, and I don't think we've done any gangster noirs. So I'm taking you back to 1988.
Ooh.
Gangster noir comedy film. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This is one I'm always thinking that's a podcast. That's a podcast. Anytime I see the title, see a clip from it.
We've got Bob Hoskins, we've got Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit.
What's it called? Is it Mario Brothers? So I think you're all right with Bob Hoskins.
Yeah. I think you're safe.
I've never watched it.
I don't think Bob Hoskins has popped up in anything. If not, we definitely haven't done Roger Rabbit. So
definitely. Well, we'll soon find out. I don't know who voiced him. It might turn out that the voice actor was in something, but we'll see. There you have it then, Roger Rabbit. It's been a long time coming. I don't think I'd ever pick it, but I thought we'd get there eventually. So y'all have, I believe we're back on 7 days, a week, to find Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit. Give it a watch, and we'll see you next time for a shorter podcast on 10 Point Podcast.